you exhausted?
Hello, y'all, and welcome to Aren't You Exhausted? I am your big back bitch host, Ashley, and yes, I survived the hurricane. Barely. But others weren't so fortunate, and my thoughts and prayers are out there to those who were not as fortunate as we were. We lost power, we lost some food perishables from our refrigerator and freezer that just didn't keep after we lost power for almost 2 days. Other than that, just some minor wind damage where we live, but others were not so fortunate, and we had close friends who literally lost everything. We're helping where we can, and it's just rough. It's rough out there after hurricanes. This one was a little bit more than what we typically would get. I've been through a few hurricanes since moving here, and it's been an adjustment going from, random tornado warnings that never really hit places that I lived out in the Midwest to full-on hurricanes. So it's an adjustment. We're working through it. We were fortunate that no one in our direct family lost anything and survived it, and no lives were lost on our end, but we do hurt for those that lost a lot. And we're going to try to get through this. It's just going to be a lot of random updates on people that I have discussed along my time here on YouTube. Not so much on Amberlynn and Chantal. We will circle back to them on minor things that I just wanted to talk on, but for the most part, it's going to be some of the other people we discuss. So starting out strong here with the most shock and awe worthy, that is EEBJ, Emily Emil Beastjack, as he's known on TikTok. I've discussed him numerous times on here, and we've covered him in live streams. I've covered him in introduction posts and did updates on him. Jordy, his beloved mod, has decided to take a step back away from Emil's content. Big surprise there. Apparently, her husband got hold of conversations were being had that she told everybody that he was aware of, but I guess he wasn't aware of the scope that they went to, and it caused a little bit of a grift between those two parties. Jordy made some statements pretty much condemning her husband on the matter, saying he was being too strict or being too judgmental of the situation, when, if you're in a monogamous marriage, you're kind of expected not to wander, and that is emotional. Cheating is still cheating. Whether you planned on acting on those, what you were saying in text messages back and forth or in phone conversation, is besides the fact. It doesn't look good. And I guess an ultimatum was put in place for her to either leave Emil's live streams and no longer be a mod, or perhaps a separation. And it looks like she chose her husband. Emil is not too happy about that. Apparently, he's made numerous remarks about Jordy's husband and the situation at hand, and how he is upset about her having left being a moderator for his channel, for his TikTok page. It's quickly been replaced. Apparently, he now has a few new mods in place, one of which used to be a troll. So we'll see how that works itself out. Emil is also taken back to showing various photographs and videos of himself in states of undress on his live streams. I'm not really sure how he hasn't been permanently banned from this platform yet, but for whatever reason, he continues to have a platform. I think it's a lot of ban evading, but I think TikTok should be better about, IP banning versus just banning random accounts. Let's see what else he's been up to. Apparently, there have been more discussions on his children, visitations maybe with his children are said to be in order, but he's made a lot of remarks about his children, almost seemingly trying to advertise the beauty of his children and I don't know. It's off-putting when any social media creator tries to use their children as bait, like clickbait, or just for increased viewership by saying some things, and how he discusses his children and the remarks he's made in the past about his children and how he's treated them and what he's shown them. It's a very uneasy feeling with everybody involved, and a lot of TikTok creators that are out to keep these kind of people off of social media, especially TikTok, where there's ease of access for underage children to run across said content, not even thinking about it. He's still there, and they're still fighting the good fight on trying to get him kicked off. I wish them all the best, and I will continue reporting on him to showcase people what kind of creature he is. That's not being biased whatsoever. This man is a menace, and he deserves every bit of shame and ridicule and everything coming at him for the pain that he puts people through who try to help him. So, just my opinion. All right, we're moving along into Joni Marie 2, or Autism Mom Life. I haven't really done an update on her in a hot minute, but the updates on her and her family, more importantly, her oldest son, Cash, are that she did register him to start going to school, and they're going to be working on his therapy for dealing with his aggression issues. This all came to a head when Cash had an aggressive outburst due to food, which is normally a trigger on his aggression towards his mother, and he forced her to essentially hide out in the family bathroom. The other children, the smaller children, were directed to go to their rooms. This has become almost a daily occurrence when Joni begins to, live stream or go to record content. She wants to educate people on the matter, but I think it's just putting her son in a very bad light, especially when she knows that there are a lot of people out there who already feel negatively about his behavior towards women especially, but throwing kids, smaller children into the mix who have to live in this fight or flight every day, dealing with his aggressive outbursts and, his propensity towards violence with his mother, let alone any of the other children if that were to happen. It's just not a safe space, and I think it's going to end up leading to the children having, severe issues themselves dealing with aggressive behaviors that are going to need therapy as well. It just doesn't seem worth it at this point. They really need to get Cash into some kind of program to help with teaching Joni better methods on his triggers and how to deal with them, and leaving it somewhere in a safe space to do so. In their home, I don't believe is safe anymore. It's not safe for those children. Cash is getting to the point where he is a big boy for his age. He is both tall and large and very strong. And I think it's getting to a point Joni cannot fight him off. If he were to really aggress her any further, she would not be able to hold him off. And how is she going to protect her other children if something were to be catastrophically wrong in the situation? Like, what if he, in a fight of violence and anger and frustration, picked something up that was sharp? He has a propensity to go towards scissors a lot. That's his safety blanket to Joni. What if he were to go towards scissors that were sharp and accidentally stab somebody? Like, I don't think she really thinks this through, the severity of the situation she's putting her other family in. She has young children to worry about. Not to mention Cash himself. If he were to accidentally go to swing on somebody with a sharp object and go too far and strike himself even, like, it just doesn't seem like it's worth the risk at this point. He really needs to take priority in the safety of the other family members and Cash himself, and put it above being this picture perfect mom. She wants the recognition of being a good mom and doing everything she can for her autistic child, but in the foreground we're seeing the chaos and the mess. You have to learn this is not it. Is fame and a little bit of spending money worth this? Worth the safety and health of your children? It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. And this is a predicament we're in with her. Hopefully some changes will be made. Hopefully this school and everything entailed into it is enough to help at least point Joni in a better direction. If somebody else tells her that she needs more help than what she's receiving so far and can get that for her, that would be amazing. But I also see Joni being very stubborn and wanting to internalize everything and take it upon herself to try to do everything. And no one's super mom. No one can do that. If somebody is offering help, take the help, please. And that's about as far as I'm going to get with her on an update. I haven't watched anything this week to really know what's going on. I will take a look when I can as far as catching up on anything that's happened directly recent. But that's as far as I've gotten on an update with her so far. Another update I wanted to do, not really an update because I haven't really done a deep dive on her yet. She's fairly new to my arsenal of TikTok creators that I have run across that are on the beg talk and scammer scope. But Tracy Burley, I first came across her TikTok. She was live streaming and she was after some weight loss equipment. She was wanting people to donate towards weight loss equipment for her to begin a weight loss journey on, which great, amazing, beautiful. People were giving her alternatives to having to buy flat out new equipment. I know she was wanting equipment that would be more suitable towards her size, which is fine. But at her size, a lot of even the gym equipment that would be accessible to her weight range, she is not yet going to be there mobily to be able to do it. Like, she says that she has issues with standing for long periods of time or even walking. So a lot of the things that she was suggesting would not be suitable for her activity level at this very moment. And when you go to suggest her to, do things in the meantime that wouldn't need donations towards this gym equipment until she was able to actually do the things on the gym equipment needed to, that she could easily do from seated positions or make adjustments to her activity level to be able to lose some weight in the beginning to get her to a point of some more mobility, some comfortable mobility. And she gets pissy. I've made comments in the past on her live streams of seeing her get agitated and lash out at people for offering suggestions. Albeit there are a lot of trolls and they're saying random things, but she gets to the point where she is literally foaming at the mouth, yelling at people over offering suggestions or alternatives or, areas where she doesn't have to be online and take the ridicule and, bullying for donations for equipment that she's never going to use. So upon watching, though, I took her at face value at first. I was like, okay, she's only begging for weight loss equipment. Not ideal. And like offering alternatives and she's shooting them down. So I began watching her content a little bit more closely. And I see that she is stating that she wants to do, the weight loss content, the health content or whatever. And that's why she's wanting donations to the weight loss equipment, the workout equipment. And I'm like, couldn't you start the content beforehand though? Like with just eating better to start your journey and record that to get content build up. And maybe you could make this a full-time job. People would be more interested in seeing the progress of the, what you're planning on doing for content, as opposed to you just begging day in and day out in front of a camera, sitting in front of a computer, clicking away, yelling at people, maybe your plight would be a little bit more heard if you went that route. And she got pissy about that. And so from there on out, I pretty much deemed her a scammer, a beg talker, and I decided to add her to my art. I drew her in a state of anger, and she ended up finding not my TikTok video that I initially uploaded, but she found the re-upload to my YouTube and decided to comment on that instead of the direct line TikTok, which got way more views, saying, basically trying to defend herself and explain herself. And through explaining herself, days after explaining herself, I see that she is asking for money for groceries and then money to finish paying her electric bill. And we've gotten on to beg talk. We've gotten on to people begging to pay their way. And I don't know, I'm just not a fan of it. Initially, I saw this creeping up when people actually needed things, like it was an emergency situation and they needed some way to have some money. Like, I would even say this hurricane situation where people lost literally everything, and a lot of them didn't have home insurance or flood insurance or any of that to cover the cost of the damages to their homes and are essentially homeless now. That I could see donations being donated to, asking for money for that. GoFundMe's made for that, advertising that. People begging for grocery money, people begging for workout equipment, people begging for the other half of their utility bills to be paid. I'm a little less empathetic, especially if you were able to pay these before and you're asking people to pay for these things now, when what's going to happen when you need these things taken care of later on, like a grocery bill or utility bill. I understand people fall on hard times, but if you're doing it every day, I'm less empathetic. I'm sorry. And she doesn't take kindly to being called a scammer or a beggar, but she's doing scamming and begging things. So if it looks like a duck, walks like a duck, it's probably a duck, It's that situation. I will be doing a deep dive into her sometime soon, trying to find out more about her beginning content on TikTok. I'm not sure how far back it goes. A lot of these people come on and off again on TikTok doing these scams like this begging, transitions in their lives, and then they're not heard of for a while. So I guess we'll see where this content leads, and if she gets her weight loss equipment or her utilities paid, or whatever she's asking for next. And I guess last but not least is Amberlynn. Amberlynn posted a compilation of videos of her and Emily together on their honeymoon. I don't know how to describe this family vacation that was taken. We found out that Mama Lynn and Mama Lynn's boyfriend are no longer in Wisconsin. I'm pretty sure, at least from the phone conversation had in the road trip video that Amber forgot to cut out of her mom's boyfriend's conversation had with his father, that they were going to Colorado to pick up somebody, and I'm assuming going back to Oklahoma. Essentially, this was a dropping Amberlynn off and had other things to do on the same trip. So this wasn't a trip that Mama Lynn took from the kindness of her heart. It was like, well, we have to travel somewhere else. We can take you if you'll pay for the trip kind of deal, which is fine, whatever. Amberlynn seems to be living it up in Wisconsin, getting the, deluxe treatment from her feeder friend, her feeder fiance, feeder finder, Emily. Also, I refuse to call her Tommy. Her name is Emily. She signs things E. We know her name. I'm going to say Emily. I'm not using that stupid ass nickname that was given to her to try to hide her identity. We know who she is. She's showing her face on camera. She can be called Emily. Emily is love eating it up, being shown on camera, feeding her baby child, the dire mother and the great child. That is what I'm equating them to. That is the ship right now that is being sailed. If you need that 13 Ghosts reference, I'll put it somewhere on the screen here. But we're getting sweets already, and Amber giddy over being fed ice cream and a frozen fruit roll-up. When's the funnel coming in? Just when should we expect it? Also, when should we expect the feeder content to begin on the side for extra money? Just asking for a friend. Anyhow, they're seen out and about. Amber's needing a stepping stool to get up into Emily's truck. It is a sturdy one, so if you're looking for a sturdy step up, I would find whatever brand that is. It seems pretty good if it can handle that. Other than that, pretty dull vacation, if you ask me. Dull honeymoon, going gambling and grocery store, out to eat. Pretty much the same thing she would have done in Oklahoma. Boring. Really seeing the sights, if you ask me. But at any rate, Chantal, on the, if we're going to stay on the roller coaster that is a boring trip, Chantal's trip to Thailand is coming to a close, and she is very anxiety ridden over the fact that she'll have to travel again, over the fact that when she comes back to Kuwait, apparently Salah has put in a place of a rigorous exercise and health routine to be happening at the behest of Chantal. She is not looking forward to that, already throwing a fit over it. And then apparently there's been some issues in the chat, the live chats, and it's made Salah take a step back, I guess, from the chats, especially now that Chantal is being adored by a fat admirer throwing money at her, large sums of money at her, loving their little piggy over there in Thailand, just gorging herself like the tick that she is. And Salah seems to be a little jealous. Seems to be a little ass hurt over the situation, and decided to ghost Chantal and not answer her texts or calls. Apparently she made 45 calls that were unanswered to Salah, even though she knows by a location tracker where he is. She's unable to get a hold of him and doesn't know anybody to get a hold of him. So she's freaking out a little bit. With good reason. I mean, last time she went away from home for a little bit, Salah, shall we say, dipped his toes into other waters. And that's a pretty big fear to have, especially now that, you know, he can do that in front of her face, apparently, through the chats. Like, he's been openly flirting with some of the mods and some of the other people coming in and out of the live streams. And it's kind of taken a lot of people back. I have no idea. It is just, it's Chantal. It's a big clusterfuck. No one knows. Her life is such a jumbled mess, and it's sad, and it's all her doing. It's just a big ball of stubborn, elderly woman content. I mean, romance scam and gorging themselves overseas, thinking that they're world travelers. They've only been to 2 other countries. Just real kick in the pants, or a real shit in the bed, or shit in the pants. I don't know. There's been a lot of shit on this trip. Chantal's been in and out of being sick almost the entirety of her stay in Thailand, either through, I'm assuming, food poisoning. I'm assuming some parts not taking her medications correctly, and other parts getting so high that she doesn't know where the fuck she is. I guess it's the price you pay for fame, huh? At any rate, that's about all I have for the updates on everybody. I will be back sometime soon for an in-depth on Tracy, and maybe some updates on some other people with clips. But other than that, I'm still in a grieving process, still reaching out to friends and family that are struggling after the hurricane and dealing with the repercussions of the hurricane, and my husband having to leave for work and being away from home, and just everyday life. Welcome to being an adult. Other than that, we will start up the horror movie club on Discord again here soon. Hopefully mid-October. We're going to start doing it every night for at least a few hours, screening a movie for everybody. So if you're interested, just pop in whenever you feel like. The link for the Discord is somewhere in my community post, so feel free to join. I will post the schedule here probably next week of movies that will be shown, and the times, and we'll keep to it as long as there's no more storms, fingers crossed. But yeah, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.